When this man gets angry, he turns into a giant green and very aggressive monster. This is the Incredible Hulk, and you have no idea what he's capable of. Let's get started. A group of researchers carries out an experiment with gamma rays. Dr. Bruce Banner agrees to be the test subject. The experiment doesn't go as planned. The creature that not long ago was Banner breaks free and destroys the laboratory. General Ross and his daughter are amongst those injured. Dr. Banner flees from the scene of the incident. The US Army launches a manhunt for him. 5 months go by, but Banner remains at large. Turns out he has been in Brazil all this time. While the vengeful general searches every corner of the USA, Bruce hides in the city slums and learns Portuguese. He also learns martial arts, learning to control his breathing and heart rate. To make a living, Bruce gets a job at a lemonade factory. One day he agrees to repair a broken mechanism. While at it, Bruce injures his hand. A drop of blood from his finger falls on a conveyor belt. Bruce is horrified. He demands that the conveyor belt should be stopped immediately. Having examined the conveyor belt, he finds it removes the traces of his DNA. The factory's operation resumes, but no one has noticed another crimson drop that landed on a bottleneck. The lemonade is bottled. The drink contains Bruce's DNA, heads to the USA. Meanwhile, one of the locals harasses a local young girl. Bruce stands up for the stranger. A conflict erupts, but the manager breaks up the brawlers. After work, Banner hurries home. There he contacts the mysterious Mr. Blue on behalf of Mr. Green. Banner's organism mutated after the exposure to the gamma rays. His fellow scientists help him create an antidote and restore his DNA to normal. All the ingredients have been obtained, and the instructions have been received. Bruce goes to work. Then, armed with a microscope, he checks how the medicine affects his cells. They look green and strange. The antidote turns them into regular red blood cells, but in a second, they turn green again. Banner is desperate. He tells Mr. Blue about the failure. The colleague asks Bruce to send him a biological sample for studying. Banner sends a test tube with his DNA to New York. An ordinary old man in the USA buys the lemonade bottle with Bruce's drop of blood, and his DNA changes too. The news about this incident reaches General Ross. He finds out where the lemonade was shipped from. So this is where the escapee has been hiding all this time. The general gathers an assault squad. An elite soldier, Emil Blonsky, is in charge of it. Having examined DNA samples, Mr. Blue says that this information isn't sufficient. To develop a treatment plan, he must know all the details about the ill-fated experiment. However, Bruce doesn't have this data, but he knows who might have it. Night falls. Blonsky's squad prepares to capture Dr. Banner. Bruce's dog notices the intruders and begins to whine. The strike team bursts in, shooting at sleeping Banner. But what's this? There is a pillow under the blanket. Having heard the dog, Bruce woke up and escaped through the window. A chase ensues. In the middle of the street, Bruce runs into a man. It's that very worker he had conflict with because of the young woman. The man resembles his assailant and decides to beat him up. Bruce runs away. He hides at the factory, but he is quickly found. Friends of the aggressive workers attack Banner. He begs the men to stop, because if he gets angry, something very bad will happen. In the meantime, the soldiers infiltrate the factory. They shoot tranquilizers and happen to hit the brawlers. At that moment, Bruce's heart rate rises above 200. At first, no one understands what's happening. Banner hides in a dark corner. A wild roar emanates from there. Someone grabs the main attacker, and then... everyone is shocked. Who could have thrown a man across the entire factory? Something huge breaks out of the dark. Tranquilizer darts bounce off of his skin. Blonsky's squad switches to combat bullets. This doesn't help either. The monster throws barrels at people. Blonsky is the only survivor from the entire squad. The soldiers return to the general and demand an explanation. What monster protects Banner? The general replies that it's Hulk. And he doesn't protect Bruce Banner. He is Bruce Banner. Morning comes. Banner regains consciousness in the middle of the jungle. He wears torn clothes. Banner doesn't remember what has happened while he was Hulk. He catches a ride and learns that he is in Guatemala. Bruce doesn't have money, a computer, or clothes, but he's got an action plan. To accomplish it, he needs to get to America. Meanwhile, Blonsky learns what he encountered. At one point, General Ross was in charge of the biotechnical research program. His objective was not to create a superweapon, but rather a super soldier. Dr. Banner worked for him. Once Bruce came up with an idea how to increase the human's resistance to radiation. He conducted the experiment right on himself, but something didn't go as planned. The serum didn't protect his body, but rather cause uncontrolled mutation. Now, when under stress, the former scientist's body transforms into an invincible green monster. The general wants to catch Bruce, study the mutation and create an army of obedient Hulks. At first, Blonsky refuses to take part in this, but the general makes a promise. If Blonsky helps him, he will also be given the miracle serum. Then, his aging body will become super strong too. Moving to Virginia, here at the Department of the Biological Scientists works the General's daughter, Elizabeth Ross, or simply Betty. Having reached America, Bruce finds Betty. He sees her with an unfamiliar man and gets disappointed. You see, once they loved each other. Bruce comes to his old friend, the owner of the local pizzeria. Having grabbed a couple of pizzas, he goes to the university. There, Banner pretends to be a courier and sneaks into the laboratory. His goal is to obtain data about the experiment that turned him into the Hulk. But there is nothing in the database. Upset, Bruce returns to the pizzeria. This is when Betty comes there too, with her new boyfriend. For a moment, their eyes meet. Banner escapes immediately. Betty demands an explanation from the pizzeria's owner. Was it Bruce Banner, or was it someone that looked like him? The old man is quiet. Betty realizes that it really was her beloved man. Bruce doesn't manage to go far. Betty catches up with him in her new car. Despite the fact that Bruce harmed the young woman when he turned into the Hulk, she believes him innocent. Moreover, she saved the precious data about the experiment. Betty had hidden the memory card with the information before the military classified everything. In the meantime, Emilio Blonsky is administered the serum that Banner once used. For safety reason, the general gives him half a dose. In the morning, Bruce and Betty say goodbye. Banner must deliver the memory card to Mr. Blue. Suddenly, the two of them get surrounded by soldiers. We can see Blonsky. After being administered the serum, his body became a lot stronger and faster. Betty finds her father and begs him to free Bruce. The young woman is not listened to. The soldiers lure Bruce into a trap and pump gas. It seems like it's over, when suddenly Hulk appears. He is not afraid of bullets and scatters armored vehicles. Blonsky lures the monster under special emitters. They stun Hulk, but not for long. The monster gathers strength and destroys all the equipment. Blonsky stands in his way. Hulk gets rid of him with a single blow. Betty rushes to her loved one. She is about to come under fire, but Hulk shields her with his own body. Then he leaves and takes the young woman with him. Betty regains consciousness in a cave. She sees that Hulk has a measure of intelligence. He remembers his beloved and tries to protect her from everything, even from thunderclaps that resemble explosions to him. What's going on with Blonsky? Hulk's blow was too strong. The poor guy no longer has intact bones. But thanks to the serum, he survived. In the morning, Betty wakes up not next to the green monster, but rather next to Bruce Banner. The couple return to the city. Betty buys Bruce new clothes and gives him a haircut. The evening is about to take a romantic spin. But then, oops. When the two are in bed, Banner's heart rate reaches a critical point. It seems like it's better for them to stay friends. In the meantime, General Ross is called to the hospital. Blonsky regains consciousness. Moreover, he has even fully recovered thanks to the serum. Now he dreams about taking revenge on Hulk. To defeat such a monster, Blonsky needs more strength. Betty and Bruce move out again. Bruce contacts Mr. Blue and offers him to meet up. The military, however, monitors their threat. They find out that Mr. Blue is a talented scientist named Samuel Stearns. Finally, Mr. Green and Mr. Blue meet up. Dr. Stearns studies data from the memory card and creates a treatment plan. But there is a problem. The effects may be temporary. The military is preparing another raid. Blonsky is administered a second dose of the serum. He doesn't look good. It seems like his body is rapidly undergoing mutations. Dr. Stearns prepares Bruce for the procedure. First, he is supposed to turn into the Hulk, then the monster is administered the antidote. It seems like he is about to demolish the laboratory, but the treatment works. Bruce becomes a man again. Stern is thrilled. He experimented with the DNA sample Bruce sent him. Stearns is convinced that his biological material can be used to make medicine that will make people stronger and healthier. The mutation was the only problem, but Stearns managed to overcome it. Bruce is horrified. He doesn't want his DNA to be turned into medicine, because there will always be people who turn medicine into a weapon. The friends quarrel. At that moment, the soldiers launch the raid. Blonsky finds Bruce, but it's not what he needs. He wants to fight the Hulk rather than an ordinary man. The general takes Betty and Bruce and flies them away in a helicopter. Blonsky interrogates Dr. Stearns. He wants to know whether or not the doctor can recreate Hulk's mutation. Stearns is ready to experiment. But mutations are unpredictable. Maybe Blonsky will become a superhero, or maybe he will become the very abomination itself. Stern administers Hulk's DNA. Mutations change the soldier's body. If Hulk still has something human-like in him, then this creature doesn't look human at all. The general is briefed on the incident. Blonsky turned into a monster. Now he is roaming the streets of New York, destroying everything in his way. The soldiers try to stop him, but it's impossible. The army is powerless. Bruce demands that the general releases him. Either Hulk stops the monster, or no one will. But there is a problem. Bruce no longer has the mutation. Stearns warned him that the effect may be temporary. Banner decides to jump off the helicopter. Perhaps the horrors of free fall will awaken the Hulk in him. Bruce kisses his beloved one and dares to jump. Soon we see a giant green fist. Then we see all of Hulk. Blonsky hears the roar of his opponent. A fight ensues. The general orders to cover Hulk with fire. The helicopter gets too close to the monster and crashes. The splashed fuel ignites. An explosion is about to be heard, but Hulk is already rushing to the rescue. The fire is out, but the enemy is still at large. With great effort, Hulk defeats Blonsky and suffocates him with a chain. Betty begs him to stop. The enemy is defeated. There is no need to claim his life. Hulk listens to his beloved one. He throws the enemy at the feet of General Ross. The police and the soldiers are ready to attack the second monster, but the general orders them to drop their weapons. Hulk says goodbye to Betty. This time he is allowed to leave. A month passes. Bruce Banner lives in the slums again. During the meditation, he increases his heart rate to a critical point, but he doesn't turn into the Hulk. Bruce opens his green eyes and smiles.